All right, so today we're going to practice our pronunciation, enunciation, and intonation through PTE speaking sentences. So first of all, before we start, we need to know where we want to pause or where we want to stress. And it is usually or mostly on our independent clause and strong word choices. So for example, in the first sentence, we can see that while, that is a subordinator, right? So that is our dependent clause. So our stress would be on the second part, which is it is one of the least. And the least is very strong word choice. So maybe I want to emphasize on that. Okay, and then afterwards we see, all right, so food researchers say that, and then we have another dependent clause. So where is our independent clause? They learn to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, right? And whenever we have a list of items, we want to make sure we don't keep going down in our tone because blue, black, or purple, if you keep going down, there is nowhere to go but down. And it seems very monotonous or you're very bored. So we have to go up in order to come down. All right. So these are some of the main points. Okay. So I'm going to do a demonstration and we're going to break it down. Okay. So while blue is one of the most popular colors, it is one of the least appetizing. Blue food is rare in nature. Food researchers say that when humans search for food, they learn to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black, or purple. When food dyed blue is served to study subjects, they lose appetite. All right, so as you can see here, some other words that I stressed include one of the most popular colors. Actually, I should use a bracket, right? Because it's the most. And I also stress avoid toxic or spoiled objects. So a lot of times when we reach verbs or verbals, we can actually pause a little bit. And of course, some of the obvious places to pause would be our punctuation. So comma indicates a quicker pause, while period indicates a longer pause, right? And if you find that, well, that's still a lot of words to say before I reach a punctuation. That is why verbs and verbals become important. This is where you can kind of slow down a little bit. All right. So let's try it one more time, right? While blue is one of the most popular colors, it is one of the least appetizing. Blue food is rare in nature. Food researchers say that when humans search for food, they learn to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black, or purple. When food dyed blue is served to study subjects, they lose appetite. All right, and that is how you say it. Okay, so now if I want to focus on one single word this time, it would be the word the, right? Because we have something called voiced and unvoiced, TH. So what does that mean? It means that sometimes we want to feel the vibration inside our tongue, the, that is the voiced. Whereas when I talk about, right, like 3, that is unvoiced. So to give you some examples, this, that, these, those, they all require vibration, whereas 3, 30, right, these are unvoiced, or teeth, and they don't require vibration. So I'm going to put them all in blue. Okay, and is there any other TH sound? They, right? Okay, that, they. All right. And I think that is the first thing we want to fix here is the voiced TH sound. Okay. So now it is your turn to try. All right, so now the second example, so I'm going to read it once and see if you can pick up some of the important keywords. Although it hails from a remote region of the Western Himalayas, this plant now looks entirely at home on the banks of English rivers and colonized riverbanks and damp woodlands. In the Himalayas, the plant is held in check by various pests, but take these away and it grows and reproduces unhindered. Now it is spreading across Europe, New Zealand, Canada, and the US. So as you can see, in this case, we also have a list, right? So we have to make sure that we don't keep going downwards. Instead, you want to go up, 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 and the last one would be down. So same thing on the banks of English rivers and colonized riverbanks and damp woodlands, right? Yeah, I think these are the two lists. Also, I want to highlight my independent clause here. Okay, there is a typo in this sentence, pardon me, so I should change this to a comma because whatever comes before is a dependent clause. So now I want to highlight my independent clause. This plant now looks entirely at home, right? And entirely is something you want to emphasize because it's like totally, very beautiful, unique, special, right? It's a strong word choice. Okay, and of course we can see that, oh, there are some punctuation points where we can stop, right? Like the introducer comma, right? And of course, when we have a list, feel free to stop there as well, okay? And also introducer comma here. One thing that is very important is our strong transition word, right? But take these away and it grows and reproduces unhindered, right? Okay, so there are some typos here, so I'm going to add it another comma where you can pause. Okay, and let me finish highlighting the periods as well, where we can pause, take a longer break. Okay. All right, and this here should be a comma and the US. Okay, now let's look at the TH sound again. Is it voiced or unvoiced? Although, although, so this is a voiced, right? The Western Himalayas, voiced. This is voiced TH, and also the Himalayas, the plant, okay? Take these away, and the or the US, the United States. So you might be wondering when I'm using the, when I'm using the. The general rule would be if you use the before a vowel, chances are you can pronounce it the sound. But yeah, usually we would say the United States, because it's the long U sound, united, not like umbrella. That is a short U sound. All right, so I'm going to say it one more time now. Listen very carefully. Although it hails from a remote region of the Western Himalayas. So do you see how for prepositional phrases, I link every word so it stays connected? This plant now looks entirely at home on the banks of English rivers and colonized riverbanks and damp woodlands, right? That is a list. So be careful not to keep going down. In the Himalayas, the plant is held in check by various pests. But take these away, and it grows and reproduces unhindered. Now, it is spreading across Europe, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States. All right, and that is the few pointers that we use when we're trying to speak like a native speaker.